Last year, Aryna Sabalenka was talking about maybe skipping the WTA Finals.
Yeah.
She felt so disrespected by the WTA. Well, this year, it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
She's at the top of her game, the world's #1.
Yeah.
How did she go from feeling like an outsider
Right.
to being a leader on and off the court?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to find out.
It's really interesting to see how Sabalenka has evolved, you know, from protesting the tour's conditions to becoming this voice for change within the WTA.
Exactly. I mean, remember the player rebellion in Cancun last year?
Oh, yeah.
That was a turning point. Imagine.
Right.
Top players in the world, and they're dealing with terrible facilities, fighting for fair pay, a decent schedule.
It was a mess. Really exposed a lot of problems that have been brewing in the WTA for a while.
Right.
For someone like Sabalenka at the peak of her career, to speak out like that publicly, it shows how deep the frustrations ran.
And it wasn't just her. 21 top players joined forces, demanding change. They wrote this powerful letter to the WTA.
Oh, I remember that.
Outlining all their demands. Real collective action.
That letter was something else. Not just complaining.
Right.
It was a vision for the future of women's tennis. More equitable, sustainable.
It's almost like they formed a union, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It makes you wonder if something like that would work in other fields, too.
Totally.
Makes you think, right? What would it take for you to speak up?
Yeah.
If you felt undervalued in your own field?
That's a tough question. It takes a lot of courage to stand up for what you believe in.
For sure.
Especially when you're going up against these powerful institutions.
Absolutely. And, you know, Sabalenka put her money where her mouth is.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember when she donated a big chunk of her prize money from Cincinnati?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
To Ukrainian relief efforts.
Yes.
And remember, for that same tournament, she earned less than half of what the men's champion got.
It's crazy, right? That pay disparity is a perfect example of what Sabalenka and other players are fighting against.
Yeah.
And even with that new pay equity agreement for future tournaments, still a long way to go.
It's kind of mind-boggling, you know? 2024, and we're still talking about this.
I know.
But gotta say, at least that new agreement is a step forward.
It is.
Even if it doesn't fully kick in until 2033 for some events.
Right.
So what are some of the key things in that agreement?
Well, one big thing is the gradual increase in prize money for women at the big tournaments.
Okay.
The goal is to eventually reach parity with the men.
Makes sense.
And it's not just about the money.
Right.
They're also addressing things like better travel conditions, maternity leave, and even more player representation in how the WTA is run.
So it's really about creating a fairer, more supportive environment for female athletes.
Absolutely. And Sabalenka has been really vocal about that.
She has.
She's become a role model,
Definitely.
showing younger players that you can be successful and still fight for what you deserve.
It's almost like she's using her platform to empower the next generation.
Yeah, and it's working. We're seeing more players finding their voices, speaking out.
That's so great to see.
It's inspiring. A real shift happening in women's tennis.
Speaking of inspiring, let's talk about Sabalenka's game.
Oh, yeah.
Her power is just unreal. But I've noticed something else this year. She's added some serious finesse.
It's not just brute force anymore, is it?
No.
She's playing smarter. One of the biggest changes, the drop shot.
That drop shot. Remember when she first started using it in Rome?
I do.
It seemed like a desperation move because of that injury. But now it's like a secret weapon.
Right. Born out of necessity, but it's become a key tactic.
And don't forget that U.S. Open final.
Oh, against Pegula.
Yeah. That drop shot was a game changer.
Totally changed the momentum.
She's a master at messing with her opponent's rhythm. Used to be known for those double faults.
I know.
Now, bam. Her serve is a weapon. And then she hits you with that drop shot, dives right at the net.
It's beautiful to watch.
Her opponents never know what's coming.
Exactly. That unpredictability is huge. They can't just wait for a power shot anymore. They have to be on their toes constantly, which gives Sabalenka more control.
She's like a chess player out there, always one step ahead.
Totally. She's not just reacting, she's thinking, planning, using her shots with intent.
It's fascinating to watch how she's using her power, but in a smarter way.
Right. Not just hitting hard, but placing the ball, creating angles.
Forcing her opponents into these awkward positions.
Exactly. She's dictating the whole flow of the match.
It's what sets her apart from other power players.
For sure. She's got that raw strength, but she's added the tactical awareness.
Deadly combination.
And it's not just physical. Mentally, she's tougher.
Oh, yeah.
She's learned to control her emotions.
You can see.
Stay focused under pressure.
So calm, collected, in control.
Remember those early matches where she'd get frustrated and start making mistakes?
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore.
Nope. She's really learned to manage her emotions, use them to her advantage.
That's the sign of a true champion. Staying composed, making good decisions under pressure.
And Sabalenka is definitely in that champion category now.
Absolutely. But even with all this success, all this dominance, this year hasn't been all easy for her.
That's true. The passing of her ex-boyfriend
Yeah,
was a really tough blow.
it was.
And to handle that personal loss while competing at this level.
It's incredible how she's managed it.
It is a delicate topic, but it's important to talk about.
I agree.
It shows her resilience
Yes.
and the strength of her support system.
Absolutely. It reminds us that these athletes are human too.
They are.
They face huge pressure, both on and off the court.
It's a reminder that even the most successful people go through tough times.
For sure.
And it's how they deal with those challenges that defines them.
Sabalenka's used this experience to fuel her focus, her determination.
She has. She's talked about how important her team has been,
Yes.
especially during this difficult time.
It just shows the power of a strong support system.
Right. Especially when you're in the spotlight, dealing with all that pressure.
It's something we can all relate to.
Absolutely.
Everyone faces adversity. Sabalenka's story reminds us that we can find strength.
Yes.
We can even thrive in the face of those challenges.
Even when life throws curveballs, you can still come out on top.
Exactly.
And speaking of coming out on top, let's talk about her goals.
Two-time Grand Slam champ.
But she's made it clear she's not done yet.
No way.
So she briefly held the #1 ranking last year,
Uh-huh.
but then Iga Swiatek dethroned her.
Yeah.
What's different this time around?
Last year, it felt almost accidental. Like she got to the top because other players weren't consistent. It's not because she was dominating.
Okay.
This year, she's earned it. 2 Grand Slam titles. Swiatek only has 1.
Right.
And it's not just the titles.
That's how she's playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The confidence, the authority on the court. Like, she owns that top spot.
It's like she's finally comfortable being there.
Yeah, last year she seemed surprised, almost.
I know what you mean.
Now she's playing like she belongs.
She does. And remember, she officially got that #1 ranking back a few weeks ago.
I do.
Not because she won a tournament,
Right?
but because of a weird technicality.
Yeah, both her and Swiatek lost points.
For what?
Missing some mandatory tournaments?
Wait, hold on. Missing tournaments affects your ranking.
It does. It's a complicated system.
Okay.
Basically, the WTA requires top-ranked players to participate in a certain number of tournaments each year.
I see.
It's to make sure the best players are competing regularly
Right.
and that the rankings reflect who's really at the top.
So Sabalenka kind of stumbled back into the #1 spot.
Kind of, yeah. But even though she didn't win a tournament to get there,
Yeah.
her recent performances prove she deserves it.
I agree.
21 wins out of her last 22 matches.
Wow. So, ranking quirks aside, she's undeniably the best right now.
There's no doubt.
It's like she's playing with this fire in her belly,
Mm-hmm.
proving to everyone, maybe even to herself,
Yeah.
that she's the real deal.
Mm. There's a sense of inevitability about her being #1 this time.
I get that.
It's not luck. It's not temporary. It's years of hard work, dedication.
And that unwavering belief in herself.
Absolutely.
That's what makes her story so compelling. It's not just talent.
It's about resilience, determination,
Oh, right.
and we can't forget the personal challenges she's faced.
No,
Losing her ex-boyfriend.
It's unimaginable to deal with that while competing at this level.
It really is. Speaks volumes about her strength, her support system.
It does. Reminds us that even the most successful people
Yeah.
are human.
Yeah.
They have real life struggles.
It adds another layer to her story, you know?
It does.
Makes her accomplishments even more impressive.
They really are.
Knowing she's achieved all this while going through such a difficult time.
She's a true testament to the power of compartmentalizing.
Right.
Focusing on her goals.
Even with all the curveballs life throws.
It's something we can all learn from.
It makes her more relatable, too.
Oh, yeah.
She's not just this superhuman athlete. She's a real person.
Exactly. With real emotions, real struggles, like all of us.
It makes her story even more inspiring.
It does. She's not just a champion on the court. She's a champion in life.
And her story's far from over.
It's just beginning. She's got her sights set on the French Open, Wimbledon.
I can't wait to see what she does next.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at those tactical changes.
Okay.
The things that have really taken her game to this level.
Let's do it.
What's she doing differently? Stay tuned.
Okay, so we've talked about Sabalenka's journey to the top, the resilience, the determination, and how her game has evolved.
It's been incredible.
But there's one part of her game that I find really fascinating.
You've got me intrigued. Tell me more.
It's her drop shot. And it's not just about winning the point.
Yeah.
It's about the mental effect it has on her opponents.
Oh, I love a good mind game in tennis.
Right. So she's this powerhouse.
Known for those massive ground strokes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden she hits this delicate little drop shot.
That dies right at the net.
Her opponents are like, what just happened?
So it keeps them guessing.
Totally off balance. They don't know what to expect.
It disrupts their whole rhythm.
Exactly. And they start second-guessing themselves.
Oh, I bet.
Hesitating on their shots, overthinking everything.
And that plays right into Sabalenka's hands.
Absolutely. It's like she's playing chess, anticipating their every move.
Setting traps.
Mm.
So how did she get so good at this? Was it always part of her game?
Not at all. Remember, she only started using it consistently this year.
Oh, yeah, after that injury in Rome.
Exactly. She had to adjust her strategy.
So it was kind of an accident.
You could say that. But it shows how well she adapts.
Turning a weakness into a strength.
She took that injury, that necessary adjustment, and turned it into a signature move.
Yeah, the best part is she seems to be having so much fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen those videos of her practicing.
Mm-hmm.
There's this mischievous look in her eye.
That's another key to her success. She's embracing the challenge,
Experimenting.
finding the joy in it all.
She's unlocked this playful side to her game.
Makes her even more dangerous.
And it's not just the drop shot. Think about her serve.
Oh, yeah.
Early in her career, it was kind of a liability.
Oh, it's a double fault.
Now, it's a weapon.
How did she do it?
It's amazing. She took something that was holding her back and made it a strength.
It's a combination of things. Working with her coaches, changing her grip, her toss, her body positioning.
Okay.
And she's gotten so much stronger, fitter.
So it wasn't just about technique. It was about building a stronger foundation.
Exactly. That's what champions do.
They're always looking for ways to improve physically and mentally.
And that mental toughness is key.
Like in the U.S. Open final.
Yeah.
So much pressure.
But she handled it.
Played with such poise, such determination.
She's a completely different player now.
It's inspiring.
Let's go back to that serve for a minute. We talked about the technical changes, but what about the mental side? Serving can be so stressful.
Especially in a big match.
It's the most important shot in tennis, some say.
Yeah.
It sets up the whole point.
And for Sabalenka, it used to be a real source of anxiety.
It did.
So how did she overcome that?
It starts with believing in yourself. She had to convince herself that she could be a great server,
Okay.
that she had the power, the accuracy.
I see.
And then it's about routine.
Like a ritual.
Yeah, a mental checklist before each serve. To stay focused, stay calm.
Building a mental fortress?
Exactly. Blocking out all the doubts, all the distractions.
That allows her to serve with so much confidence, so much aggression in those big moments.
It's really impressive.
It's incredible how she's turned her weaknesses into strengths.
The serve, the drop shot, it's all part of her evolution.
Finding this perfect balance between power and finesse.
And that's what makes her so unpredictable, so dangerous.
But it's not just about the strategy.
No.
It's about the joy she brings to the court.
That infectious laugh.
The way she interacts with her team.
All that positive energy.
I love seeing those videos on social media. Always goofing around, having fun.
Even during practice.
It's refreshing to see an athlete at her level who's not afraid to just enjoy the moment.
I think that's a big reason why she's so successful. She doesn't let the pressure get to her. She finds ways to release it.
To have fun.
Finding that balance between the serious competition and the lightheartedness.
It's so important.
It keeps her fresh, motivated.
It's a good reminder that success doesn't have to come at the expense of happiness.
You can be a fierce competitor and still enjoy the ride.
And Aryna Sabalenka is definitely proof of that.
A true champion on and off the court.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Her journey is far from over, though.
No.
We've talked about her goals, French Open, Wimbledon. But what about the bigger picture? What kind of impact do you think she'll have on the future of women's tennis?
Well, she's already changing the game, I think.
In what way?
Her style, her willingness to try new things. She's not afraid to break the mold, to challenge what traditional women's tennis is supposed to be.
So she's a trailblazer.
Exactly. paving the way for a new generation.
More athletic, more powerful.
And more strategic.
And she's doing it all with a smile on her face.
Makes her even more inspiring.
And let's not forget her impact off the court.
Oh, right.
Speaking out for equality, pushing for better pay, better conditions.
It's making a difference.
She's not just talking about it, she's living it.
Using her platform to raise awareness.
She's become a symbol of empowerment.
For female athletes and for women everywhere.
And her message is resonating.
It is.
We're seeing more and more female athletes speaking out, demanding better treatment.
Absolutely.
She's started a movement.
And it's only going to get stronger.
I agree.
Aryna Sabalenka is a force to be reckoned with.
She is.
On and off the court. Her impact on tennis is just beginning.
Okay, we've covered so much ground.
We have.
Sabalenka's journey to the top, her tactics, her advocacy.
Yeah.
But there's one more fascinating detail we need to talk about.
Okay.
Something that really highlights her strategic brilliance.
You're going back to the drop shot, aren't you?
I am. It's just such a game changer. I want to know more about how she developed it.
Okay.
How she uses it to basically mess with her opponent's minds.
All right, let's dive back into the world of the Sabalenka drop shot.
I'm ready. Okay, so we're back and ready to get even deeper into this drop shot of Sabalenka's.
It's a thing of beauty, you know, you've got this player who's all about power, aggression, and then boom, this delicate little shot that just catches everyone off guard.
Totally messes with their minds.
Exactly. It's not just the surprise factor either, it's how it disrupts their whole strategy.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, most players are used to facing Sabalenka's power from the back of the court.
Right, those ground strokes.
So they're already playing defensively, waiting for those big hits.
So they're on their heels, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then, all of a sudden, she hits this drop shot. They have to scramble forward.
So she's using their defensive strategy against them.
Exactly. And it's not just a one-time thing either. She uses it throughout the match.
So they never know what to expect.
Right. It keeps them guessing, keeps them from settling into a pattern.
It's like she's constantly throwing them off balance.
Mentally and physically. And that's the real genius of it.
The drop shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just about winning that one point.
It's about gaining a psychological edge.
That can affect the whole match. Like, remember that U.S. Open final?
Against Pegula.
Yeah, Pegula. She's solid, consistent, good at absorbing power. But against Sabalenka, she was always waiting for that drop shot.
I bet that messed with her head.
It did. She started rushing her shots, making mistakes, losing confidence.
So the drop shot basically undermined her whole game.
Exactly. And it's not just Pegula. We've seen it with a lot of Sabalenka's opponents.
They get so focused on that one shot
that it throws everything else off.
It's amazing how one shot can have that kind of impact.
It's like she's found this secret weapon, a code to winning.
But it's more than just the shot itself, right?
Right. It's how she uses it. The timing, the placement, the surprise.
So it's not just luck.
Not at all. It's strategy, pure and simple. It shows how much she's grown as a player.
Taking this simple shot and making it into something really powerful.
And it's not just the drop shot.
Her whole game has improved.
Her serve, those ground strokes, her awareness on the court.
She's a different player now.
That's what makes her so exciting to watch. Always pushing the limits, trying new things.
Always evolving.
But through all of that, one thing stays the same. Her passion for the game.
Oh yeah, that's clear.
That smile, the way she interacts with her team, how she celebrates.
You can tell she loves what she does.
And that joy, that energy, it's contagious, it draws you in.
It's like she's inviting everyone along on this incredible ride.
And her journey is far from over. She's accomplished so much, but she wants more.
Those French Open and Wimbledon titles.
She's got her eyes on the prize, but even beyond the titles, the rankings, what do you think her legacy will be?
That's a good question.
How will she be remembered in the history of women's tennis?
I think she'll be remembered as someone who changed the game.
Yeah.
A player who redefined what it means to be a champion.
Not just a powerful athlete.
Right.
But a strategic thinker. A voice for equality.
An inspiration.
She's broken barriers, challenged expectations.
Shown the world that anything is possible if you work hard and chase those dreams.
And she's done it all with a smile and a whole lot of determination.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the amazing Aryna Sabalenka.
We've seen her evolve as a player. We've talked about her tactics, her advocacy.
And the incredible impact she's having on the world of tennis.
It's been a privilege to dissect her game, to watch her rise to the top.
And we hope you've enjoyed this journey with us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.